Activity's about to pick up on the Vikings front very shortly. We've got the schedule release happening in 2 days. Next week is the start of OTAs, which, as a reminder, is completely voluntary. Although, in corporate America, we understand that the word voluntary actually means highly encouraged. We've got minicamp going down in June, all the while waiting for the inevitable, hopefully, Justin Jefferson extension, which I want to give a theory on that as far as why it may be delayed beyond the realistic take of, all right, the guarantees just isn't what Jefferson wants. I have a theory that goes beyond that. I think the Vikings are giving him the contract that he deserves. But Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in the league. If you want to have that argument and debate as far as a player that has that equal type of impact on the field at that position, the only player that meets that mark is Tyreek Hill. When you're at the top of your game, there's an ego thing. I've seen this happen time and time again, and I don't even blame the players for this, where they want to have this prestige title. I'm the top dog at this position, not just as far as statistically speaking, my play on the field, but also in this other category. Let me explain. Last year, Jalen Hurts signed a contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles in April, making him the highest paid player in NFL history. Oh my gosh, celebration galore. That next month, in May, Lamar Jackson signed his contract extension with Baltimore, making him the highest paid player in NFL history. Oh my goodness, he's the man. Good for you, champ. 2 months later, in July, Justin Herbert signs his contract extension with the LA Chargers, making him what? The highest paid player in NFL history. I think Justin Jefferson is waiting, biding his time. I think he should go after the Nick Bosa contract. Screw what any of the other receivers do this offseason. But worst case, he signs his extension before the start of the season. And if he's waiting on these other receivers, really, it was just two. One of them, it's already been done. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got your deal with the Lions. Good for you, bro. Hey, CeeDee Lamb, you're not going to leapfrog me. Go ahead and get your deal done so I can go ahead and get mine. I'm the top dog when it comes to the wide receiver position. That's my theory. He's just waiting. Maybe there's a waiting game between Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, but that let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Cut predictions as far as notable names. Most of them is coming from the 2022 draft class, but let's first start with Jiren Hall. He's clearly the odd man out at quarterback. You just drafted J.J. McCarthy 10th overall. You signed Sam Darnold to serve as the bridge in free agency. And you're going to need some sort of buffer between Darnold and McCarthy, because if Darnold struggles, then all right, you don't want to say, hey, McCarthy, now's your time to shine. If he's not ready, he's not ready. You don't want to risk losing the confidence of your new franchise quarterback just because QB1 is struggling. And that's assuming that Darnold is the starter, which I do believe. Maybe McCarthy just knocks everybody's socks off and he's the guy in week 1. But you're going to need some sort of buffer, and I don't think that's going to be Jiren Hall. I think it's clearly going to be Nick Mullins, considering the amount of leeway that Mullins was given, as well as Josh Dobbs over Jiren Hall. So clearly he's going to be gone. But this 2022 draft class, man, and I've got 3 players that I think are going to be cut, should be cut, and they all came in with hype. And I'm going to tell you something right now. The moment you get drafted and you are now part of any organization in the NFL, that grace period that you get as far as building up popularity with the fan base on pure quotes and charisma, that only lasts for so long. At a certain point, you got to get out there on the field and we have to see you perform. 3rd round pick, Brian Asamoa. Man, this hurts me the most because I swear I was the leader of the Brian Asamoa hype train. Yeah, all right, he's undersized as a linebacker, but the way that he puts pop in his tackles, the amount of wow plays he's capable of that you saw in college, oh, bro, in purple, he's going to end up on SportsCenter at least 3 or 4 times a year. And in 22, his rookie year, he was more of a sub-package guy under Ed Donatel, 119 snaps on defense. He went from that to Brian Flores came along, who clearly knows what the hell he's doing, went from 119 snaps to 36 snaps on defense in 2023. He's mainly a special teams guy. And is Brian Asamoa raising all holy hell on special teams? No, he's just the guy. But if you want to run down the road of excuses for Brian Asamoa, hey, you know what? Last year with Brian Flores, we got Jordan Hicks, Ivan Pace Jr., which is really an indictment on Brian Asamoa. Brian Flores doesn't give a damn where you got drafted or if you got drafted at all. Ivan Pace Jr. was an undrafted free agent. Brian Asamoa, a 3rd round pick. But all right, Ivan Pace Jr. stood out in camp. He's going to start alongside Jordan Hicks. Now, Jordan Hicks is gone. Okay, the floor is yours, Brian Asamoa. Nope, we're going to go ahead and sign Blake Cashman. It's over. 2nd round pick, Andrew Booth Jr. This man came into the league with a ton of hype, arguably a 1st round talent, star potential. The only thing separating him from being a 1st round pick was his injury history when he played in college. Okay, 1st year, rookie year, not great. Last year under Brian Flores, played in just 13% of the defensive snaps. You're at the bottom of the barrel. And when you consider the additions that they made at corner, my initial reaction when you consider Byron Murphy Jr., the promising future, I would say, of Mekhi Blackmon, the signing of Shaq Griffin, the drafting of Kyrie Jackson, my initial reaction to all of that, what they've done at corner, was, hey, Caleb Evans, bro, you got to look over your shoulder. You're on thin ice right now. You can't have any more F-ups. This puts a Caleb Evans on notice. I forgot the other side of the coin. All of that I just mentioned, Caleb Evans on notice, I think this shuts the door on Andrew Booth Jr. Where's the room for him to have any chance of getting out there on the field? 13% of the snaps last year, I think his time is up. And lastly, this is the most obvious one, 1st round pick, Lewis Cine. I have never seen anything like this in my life. Not just with the Vikings, but across all 32 teams in the National Football League. A 1st round pick that's unplayable. Unplayable. Bottom of the depth chart. Bro, Theo Jackson was ahead of you last year. I've been saying that in the 24 years that I've been following this team, Lewis Cine, this is the biggest bust in franchise history. But a couple of you mentioned Demetrius Underwood being worse than him. I wasn't around for that, but I did some research on him and learned that after the Vikings drafted him, he quit. He said, this is too much for me. You can't do it. I'm out. So, all right, Lewis Cine, you've got that on Underwood. You didn't quit. You showed up to OTAs and training camp and practice, and you did your best. But come on, bro. Say what you want about guys like Christian Ponder. He at least threw touchdown passes. Matt Khalil made a Pro Bowl his rookie season. Troy Williamson caught 4 touchdowns. Erasmus James had 5 sacks in his Vikings career. Lewis Cine, 2 years in the league as a 1st round pick, has 1 tackle. 1. Numero uno. Where's the room for keeping guys like that? Especially when you consider undrafted free agents such as Gabriel Davis and Levi Drake Rodriguez. When you're at the bottom of the depth chart, and this applies for all three of these guys from the 2022 draft class, when you're at the bottom of the depth chart, the pressure's on, especially when you've got undrafted free agents. Ivan Pace Jr. last year. When you have undrafted free agents that shows some sort of promise, say, hey, we may have something there. We know we have nothing here. Jiren Hall, Brian Asamoa, Andrew Booth Jr., and Lewis Cine. I don't even think that's really a hot take. They should, in my opinion, all be cut.